I feel like I've been casting both of these pro gamers a lot, especially over the last couple of weeks and months. I hope you're not getting tired of them yet, but the thing is, both of them together with, I would say, Björn especially, have really been pushing the Terran race hard, and they have been playing some phenomenal StarCraft 2. I'm not getting tired of it yet, so I'm gonna keep casting them. It's spawning here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, Lightshade, and playing from South Korea with the blue Terran SCVs, we have none other than Maru. Maru used to be on a team called Jin Air Green Wings, but as you may be aware, I tweeted about this for a little bit as well. Jin Air actually recently disbanded, which is really sad because they were basically the highest ranked team in StarCraft 2 ever. So Jin Air Green Wings is an airline over in South Korea, if I understand correctly. And basically, airlines in 2020, right? They're not doing particularly well. So I think that's probably one of the main reasons why they decided to get rid of their esports divisions. It's not just StarCraft 2, they got rid of their other teams as well, which really kind of sucks. Now Maru, though, has already been picked up, unexpectedly, I suppose, by another team called Team NV. That team started up a couple of months ago, back in June, and currently their roster is Bunny, Creator, Maru, Nightmare, Percival, and SOS. So you'll probably be familiar with some of those names. Anyways, his opponent in the opposite corner playing with the red Terran pieces, and playing for Team Liquid from France, we have none other than Clem. It's going to be a double barracks opener, if I saw that correctly right there, for Maru. So he's going to go for a little bit of an aggressive start over here. Now, unsurprisingly, obviously, Maru actually, found a new team very, very quickly. But what did surprise me for a little bit is that Trap, one of the highest ranked Protoss players in the world, tweeted that he actually didn't get a new team yet. Which is a little bit weird. I'm sure he's gotten a bunch of offers. He genuinely is, either the best or, the second best Protoss on the planet right now. The guy's ridiculous. It's always a little bit hard to make those kind of calls. But Stats, Trap, I really feel like those two are, the best Protosses right now. Maybe he did get an offer and maybe he declined it. I don't know what's going on there, but I'll keep you posted is what I'm trying to say when these sort of things happen. But yeah, Jin Air Green Wings, after being the most dominant team in StarCraft 2 for a very long time, sadly now is no more. Anyways, here we go. Clem is going to get across the map. He will find 2 Reapers. He's like, wait a second, 2 is more than 1. Now notice how fast that reaction time is over there, right? So Terran versus Terran is one of those matchups that is a lot of fun to watch, especially, when you see very good players play it, but it can be absolutely infuriating to play because it's super difficult. If, for example, right, Clem would have accidentally overextended right there with the Reaper, and he would have taken, a Reaper loss this early on, he probably would have lost the game straight up to the counterattack. It's that extreme. It's very difficult to hold on when you have less units. The thing is, for example, when you compare it to ZVZ, like in Zerg vs. Zerg in the early game, there's Zerglings, there's Banelings, there's Queens, and eventually there's Roaches, right? However, in Terran vs. Terran, there's like a dozen or so units that we usually see, like a different set of units that we usually see in the first 5 minutes or so of the game. Everything from a Marine to a Battlecruiser can be produced, and they all come out early and they all interact with each other a little bit differently. So it's a complicated matchup to properly play. Now, I love watching it, but it can definitely be a little bit annoying to play. 2 Hellions already available right now for Clem because he decided to go for that faster factory rather than the second Rex. It kind of comes down to the micro over here. Nice fanning out right there with those Reapers, taking minimal splash damage there. But one of the Hellions does go down. Oh, another one of the Reaper falls as well. All things considered, though, pretty good start right here for Maru. He just needs to be careful right now for the counterattack. So there's a siege tank coming up. There's also a medevac coming up right now from Clem. Even though he didn't make as many units early on, he's going to have a higher tech, right? So he's going to have more high-tech units. Maru already planted down the 3rd command center. That's very quick. Only just now is when the starport starts up, he decided to use that 2nd barracks over here to start pumping out some Marines. Cyclone's going to come out as well, but this little counterattack over here can certainly get some damage done. Okay, so 2 Marines. Basically, whatever was left over, right? 2 Marines, a couple Hellions in here as well. Actually, only 1 Hellion. 4 more Marines inside of the medevac, and then also a siege tank. Now, where's the siege tank gonna siege up? Apparently, this is the location. Now, nice pickup micro there. 1 Marine ends up going down, but it looks like at least the Hellion will stay alive. With that medevac in the right spot. Yep. This siege tank is gonna be able to hit, I think, I just saw it fire there, right? Pretty sure it can hit the top 2 mineral patches. I already feel like Clem should just put it right there on that little circle, right? Just like you do with an Overlord. Ooh, now that's annoying. A couple Marines are going to drop behind that mineral line as well. Siege tank coming up here for Maru, so he's going to be able to defend this here eventually. Now, once again, beautiful micro here by the Frenchman. Really good control. Picks up that wounded Marine. Looks like the bunker here is going to fall. Siege tank over here. Ooh, picks up those Marines just barely in the nick of time. They would have all died if Clem was not on point of his control. Or on top of his control, rather. I was going to say, what am I saying? I could have just ended with on point. Ooh, careful now. That Cyclone's going to go down. A little bit of an overextension. And that actually now allows Maru to stutter step forward. Pick up a couple of those units. Alright, so let's zoom out here for a little bit. As, indeed, it seems like things are disengaging. Yeah, nice start right here for Clem. The thing is, even though he's currently ahead when it comes to the worker count, and he's also ahead when it comes to the supply count, Maru had that very quick third command center, so he's going to be able to continue mining here with 3 of those yellow mining machines very nicely. Those mules are going to give him a lot of additional income. Plus, he had that tech lab pretty quickly, so yeah, Stimpec is already like halfway done. Third CC starts up right now for Clem, but he doesn't even have Stimpec started yet, right? So, even though there's an advantage right here for Clem, there's, yeah, definitely no guarantee here that he's going to be able to, They're so late these days with picking up those units, man. But there's no guarantee that he's going to be able to wiggle himself into a huge advantage here. Okay, now I love that supply depot positioning, actually. Very nicely done. If he can actually snipe the Stimpec upgrade, that would be phenomenal. Instead, he decides to go after the gas geyser. I don't know if I agree with that. There we go. Should not be able to get that much damage done, though. Dude, they're so cheeky with their pickup micro these days. That's a relatively new development. You could see it here a couple times already. Just picking up right before the siege tank fires. Or right before units are supposed to go down. Well, this could be a little bit of a problem. Cyclone? Oh, nicely done. Looks like the medevac will go down. But at the very least, it got some damage in. Nice target firing there as well with that auto turret. Clem picks up the Cyclone on the retreat. You can see though, right? If you or I would, or you and I would be playing against this, or, well, one of us at a time, we would get absolutely demolished. You can see how much skill is required here, just with relatively small armies. Scans are going down left, right, and center. Relatively expensive, actually. Siege tanks leapfrogging forward right now for Clem. And this is now a difficult position to actually break. What does Maru do with the units? Is he going to go for the counterattack, or is he setting up a surround? 1-1 is, well, about 80% of the way done. He could maybe wait with that. Maybe try and intercept some of those reinforcements, because it looks like this is walking straight through the center of the map. Third CC has been landed here as well by Clem, whereas, yeah, Maru's one is still inside of the main base. He's now got 4 siege tanks, though, on the other side of the map. It looks like Maru wants to go in for an engagement, maybe when 1-1 is finishing, but that's pretty expensive. SCVs move in right now. 15 seconds, 10 seconds at this point remaining on those 1-1 upgrades. Apparently, though, Maru decides that this is the time to go. He cleans it up, but he loses 20 SCVs in the process. And that right now puts Clem at a dominating advantage. Really nicely done there. Okay. So how are you going to play this out at this point if you're Clem? His upgrades, though, are very late, right? I feel like that's the theme so far in this game. He's only just now starting up the NG base, whereas Maru already finished his. I would love to see an armory and then 2-2 coming up here ASAP. Yeah, there it is. For Maru. Because you gotta always think about StarCraft 2 in a game of advantages, right? Even if you're ahead in the supply count, and even if you're ahead in the economy, if you're behind in tech, technology is a huge advantage. Especially when you're playing, you know, a matchup that's based around Marines. Every single Marine dealing 1 more damage and, you know, taking 1 less damage is absolutely massive. Anyway, there's no denying, though, that Maru right now is in a bit of a troubling spot. How many siege tanks are we talking? 3 and 3? No advantage there. Ooh, okay. Well, this is nice. Just barely outside of the missile turret, or what's it called? Center tower radius over there. Clem actually... he spots this, but the units are already sieged up. There's 2 siege tanks over there in the back. Looks like there was a little bit of a skirmish there too. Clem is likely going to have to fight. Now, ooh, interference matrices go down, and that actually disables those siege tanks here for Maru. So, Maru doesn't really achieve a whole lot, and he loses 2 tanks. At the same time, apparently, there was an auto turret there by one cheeky little Raven inside of the main base. SCVs kill it, but that's 6 of those bad boys going down here in total. I would love to see 2-2 started, man. There it is. I've been making some good calls this game, man. I would love to see an armory goes down. I would love to see 2... and the 2 attack commander. I don't know if you can really afford going 2-2, though. It's pretty expensive. Anyhow, let's see. Clem still with an overwhelming advantage as far as the supply counts go, but TVT is also a matchup where the defender's advantage is huge, right? Pushing into sieged up tanks, very tricky. A little bit of an overextension right there by Clem. He does get the interference matrix down, so does Maru, but the Raven ends up going down here as well for Maru. Whoa, that Marauder. Made a jump for it. Okay. And this is what I mean, like, you can push, but it's very difficult to actually close it out. You can maybe go for like a drop inside of your opponent's main base instead. Obviously, we can see the addition of Liberators here very shortly as well, especially now that that Clem is getting that air superiority. With those Liberators, you can force your opponent to unsiege, which is awesome. Now, Maru, yeah, he realizes at this point that Clem seems to be overstaying his welcome. He reinforces this army, stims with all of the units, and he actually evens up the supply counts quite a bit. Nicely done. Now, Clem does have reinforcing units as well, but they were just a little bit further away. Another sign of the defender's advantage is, you know, when your units spawn closer to the battle. Clem actually forgot +2 armor. I hope he didn't forget, actually. It hasn't started yet. We really need to keep an eye out on that. So the +1 infantry weapons is way more important than the armor upgrade, because Marines fire really quickly, but that's actually something worth noting. So that's the siege tank improvement. That's going to help out the siege tanks quite a bit. Liberator in the meantime, in the back. Getting a little bit of damage done there at the same time. Multitasking is being set up right now. This is the moment in the game where we start stressing the multitasking quite a bit. Now, both of these players play kind of similarly. Like, some Terran players out there, like, for example, a Hero Marine, love just parade pushing through the center of the map with a massive army, and that's how they win, right? But both Clem and Maru love going for that multitasking, where they hit with little armies all over the map. Maru probably even more so than Clem, actually. I know that Maru likes sitting back, maxing out, and then he starts hitting with, like, 2-3 different armies all over the map. Free siege tank? No, not quite. Ay. Still no +2 armor started up here for Clem. It's got to be a mistake at this point. He'll probably see it in just a second when he starts, you know, he tries to start 3-3. There we go. Ugh. Hate seeing those two out of sync. In the meantime, though, Maru finished up 2-2. It's going to go to 3-3 instead. 4th command center is going to float on over. We already saw the same apparently on the other side of the map. Clem already secured that expansion here, so he's still pushing his advantage. Like, the thing is, upgrade advantages, they run out at a certain point. As obviously, you know, both players will reach 3-3 here eventually. There's a lot of maneuvering here going on, but Maru really feels like fighting against a wall sometimes, I think. Like, how are you even gonna get any damage? Ooh, that's not a good... Oh, God, I don't like that siege position very much. Well, once you commit to the siege, you kind of have to go for it. Okay. Can he pick up another one of those tanks on the retreat? Looks like he will. There we go. Picks up the low HP one. At this point, the concave is being set up as well by Clem. The concave beats the convex because of surface area pretty much all the time. Units in the convex have a tendency to bump into each other. Now, Marines are pretty smooth and their pathing is pretty good, but Clem apparently has decided that fighting a front on a head-on battle is not the way to go. Now, he sees that circle on the minimap, right? So you can see right here that he's scooting past the edge right there of that sensor tower. Part of the army is actually being spotted right now as it retreats, but that's actually only part of it. I think that Maru probably assumes at this point that that is the entire army that he saw earlier on and that he was fighting earlier on. At this point, though, he sees the little blips right there on the radar. As all of those medevacs make their way towards the main, immediately Maru decides to retreat with the big force that he's got on the other side of the map. I almost feel like he should shove forward, but that's a difficult decision to make because then you're microing 2 different battles at once. All of a sudden, Clem is on top of the production here of Maru, and this is like the soft underbelly of the Terran, man. This is where they are most vulnerable, and this is where you can really catch them off guard. A lot of damage being done. Those siege tanks getting maximum value in as well. Eventually, this will be cleaned up. Yeah, Clem is going to end up losing pretty much all of this. But that is a lot of damage being done. At the same time, we see that other army that we saw retreating earlier, coming back for more, but this time around with reinforcements. 2 command centers end up going down, and a bunch of those production structures here as well for Maru. An additional 26 workers get picked off, and Clem is currently sitting at 69 of those bad boys. That's very nice. That's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. Anyhow. So the Iron Wall of Maru has been broken, it seems, right? Like, he's very good at defending, but I love the fact that Clem didn't load up all of his units into a medevac, but instead decided to show half of the army retreating, completely catching Maru off guard. Smart plays there. Now, Maru does have 3-3 done. These units don't mess around. His army is currently also bigger. You can see that bottom section of the screen. 76 army supply versus 62. Plus, it's better upgraded. 2-2, or rather 3-3, is going to still wait a... Yeah, it's still going to take a little bit. Defender's advantage at this point now for Clem, who did decide to take the base here in the bottom left-hand corner as well. 4th CC landed on over there for Maru. Ooh, is this actually a push that Maru can now go through with, though? He's got a lot of upgrades and stuff, but he doesn't have that many Marines anymore after those big battles from earlier. Love this fact that Clem is setting up a huge surround here as well, right? Trying to... you know, mitigate some of that splash damage. Now, there is a sick line of siege tanks over here, though. Look at Maru leapfrogging those tanks one at a time forward, trying to basically suffocate this base. Beautiful game. Really, really nice game. There's that base up north as well that Clem just acquired. No planetary over there just yet. Wouldn't be surprised to see that one morphing in here very shortly. +3 weapons does finish up here for Clem, so the upgrades are going to be evened up here very soon. Clem already setting himself up for a counterattack, it looks like. This base is obviously going to be relatively unprotected, as it seems like all the rally points of Maru, of the leftover structures, are set across the map. That means actually that these units can definitely get some damage done. 2 siege tanks available at this point for Clem, but there's a whole lot more here for Maru. Look at that. This counterattack over here, though, does not mess around. The net command center is toast. At the same time, the planetary fortress over here... yeah, those siege tanks are in range of it, and that means that that base will go down very, very quickly if Clem does not repair it. But he's busy microing right now, once again dropping the main base right here of the Terran player in blue. Planetary fortress goes down. Clem didn't bother repairing it, which is probably the correct move. 2 command centers right there killed as well by Maru. Siege tank gets picked up. How are these guys microing so much, man? It's so tricky. Anyways, the base over here on the left-hand side of the map will also be found. Siege tanks can easily pick that one up if they decide to siege up here, especially. They can use that splash damage to get rid of all of those SCVs, but it doesn't matter. A lot of workers are going down here on both sides of the map, and once again, Clem is on top of that production. Like, there's a couple advantages, right? Not only can you kill the structures, but you also pick up the units basically for free that come out of those structures right now. At the same time, though, big battle over here. That siege tank clump of Maru is still looking extremely strong. Yeah. Dude, these tanks have been absolutely worth their weight in gold. Fantastic. They all have pretty much like 10 kills, except for the guy in the back. This bad boy has 30. What a hero. Uh-oh, here we go. Now, this is a nice little push right here for Clem, although, yeah, he kills 2 tanks. Still loses all those Marines once again, and this is actually starting to look a little bit desperate right now. The majority of his army is on the other side of the map. I mean, he's done a lot of damage to his opponent, don't get me wrong. He still has a couple bases over here as well, which is really nice. No planetary, by the way. But he doesn't have a lot of reinforcing troops anymore. He needs a little bit of time to breathe. Clem at this point scouts out the amount of bases that are available as well, and he realizes, wait a second, Maru has barely any eco. It's really only this one mining base right here for the South Korean Terran. 1 base eco versus what I would probably call like 2, right? This is, yeah, it's about 2 mining bases in total. Very good advantage, obviously, there for Clem. That hero siege tank, though, where is he? 34 kills, look at that bad boy. He gets the prime estate every time, look at that. Always in the nice position, the best positions to shoot those shells. And this siege tank count actually is scary. It's 1 siege tank versus 6. Once again, backing up to Simon the siege tank. Why did I use my own name? This makes me uncomfortable. I was thinking a name with an S. What do I go for? Simon. Wait a second. That's my name. I'm a siege tank, guys. Never have I been betrayed by myself, but this is the first time. I always thought I was a Zerg player, but I'm appreciating Terran a little too much. I'm sorry. To the swarm. Anyhow, let's see. So, Clem is now stuck between a rock and a hard place. He needs to engage those siege tanks. Simon over there, though, will end up going down, I think. Actually, that wasn't Simon. Anyways, he is gone. Doesn't matter. And just like that, with Clem split off from his income, he knows that that base up north will end up going down next. Maru, after being significantly behind earlier on into this game, actually obtains the victory. That was sick. I actually did not expect that. Clem had a very firm hold in that game, but Maru once again shows us why he is one of the very best. I hope you enjoyed watching today's video. Looking at the YouTube analytics over the last couple of days, it turns out that currently about 47.1% of the viewers is subscribed to the channel. We are getting close to that 50% mark. If you haven't already and you enjoy the content, consider hitting that subscribe button so you get notified as soon as future videos go live. I want to thank you for watching. Have an awesome day. Don't forget to smile. And I'll see you once again in the next one.